Senator Sinema. As members of your Veterans Advisory Council, we feel as though we are being used as window dressing for your own image and not to provide counsel on what's best for Arizonans. You've repeatedly ignored our feedback, urging you to act on 3 issues that support our veterans and protect the heart of our nation. We must protect voting rights by passing the Freedom to Vote Act. We are appalled by your failure to address this issue. You campaigned on lowering prescription drug prices, but now you're opposing the Build Back Better Act. Are you choosing to answer to big donors rather than Arizonans? You were a no-show on the vote to establish a commission to investigate the insurrection. These are not the actions of a maverick. As such, we respectfully resign from your Veterans Advisory Council. Sincerely, Sylvia Gonzalez-Anders.
David Lucier.
Rick Peters. Terry Arabic.
Dana Allman.
Call on Senator Sinema to support the Build Back Better Act now.
As a powerful ad there, it's from Common Defense. That was Sylvia Gonzalez-Anders there, but you can see that there's 5 members of her 20-member strong advisory panel that was put together of different veterans to advise her. A quarter of them have left. They're done with her nonsense, the games, the lies about what she's gonna do, what she's gonna support, the leaving so that she doesn't have to vote one way or the other to establish the insurrection panel, basically all of the childish nonsense and corruption. They're done with it. And so they put out this letter. I wanna read just a couple more quotes from it. They say, "You have become one of the principal obstacles to progress, answering to big donors rather than your own people. We shouldn't have to buy representation from you, and your failure to stand by your people and see their urgent needs is alarming." They said that she hung her constituents out to dry. So Gary, I know that a lot of people, there's a lot of reporting of former volunteers for her, people who had helped get her elected initially, feeling like they've been betrayed. Some of her friends anonymously saying they feel like they don't know her anymore. Now vets who advise her are actually stepping away as well.
Senator Sinema frustrates me in a very deep way. When we talk about the Build Back Better plan and the ability to go ahead and do infrastructure, I live in South Louisiana. We just had Hurricane Ida a little over a month ago. And we have treetops that are gone off in entire sections of our community. We have swaths of land in South Louisiana with blue rooftops right now because climate change is real. And we're dealing with this. We had a near Category 5 hurricane this year and the same last year with Hurricane Laura, right? And on both sides of our state, we're dealing with devastation and recovery. We've got power lines, John, where we drive through these areas and miles of power lines are down. That Build Back Better would help us put those power lines underground to ensure that when storms come in the future, we don't deal with the same level of devastation. So as someone who lives in a state that is deeply impacted by this, that ranks probably in the lower 5 of infrastructure in the country, this is a problem for us. And having a senator that's a holdout and then doesn't even have the courage to show up to vote. And this is my issue with that. If you're gonna be bad, right? Don't run from it, stand 10 toes down in it, hold your position so that we know where you are and we can come get you the same way that you are leaving us. And so she is doing this very intentionally. I've seen people walk up to her on airplanes and she ignore people that are talking to her. That's not the type of person that's truly concerned about all of the American people. And the real deal is people like Sinema are more concerned with people who don't share their values, the values that they campaigned on to be elected, than they are the people who are the majority that voted for them. If you were wise, you could grow your base by doing that which the people desire. And there are thousands, even millions of people in Arizona that didn't vote. The question is why? How do you activate those people? And you activate those people by giving them what they want. And what she's doing is giving the people who refuse to do better what they want instead of the people who want better for all of us.
Yep, and we're gonna demonstrate it actually, because the veterans are saying that she's just, she's there for her donors, and she wants to make clear without ever saying it that is the case. That's the effect she's had in a lot of different areas of the Build Back Better bill, which by the way is not a progressives bill. Like Gary and I didn't write that. And if Bernie had been president, that's not the bill we would have. We're already doing the moderate thing but we can't get the moderates to sign on to it. Isn't that ridiculous? But so here's the most recent thing from Sinema. Here's a fun little headline. Sinema's opposition stymies Democrats' planned tax rate increases. So you see that and you think, okay, well, yeah, John, you talked about that a few weeks ago. She didn't want to raise the corporate tax as high, as some of the other Dems wanted to. No, I want to be very clear about this. What her position is, according to people in the negotiations, she is against any increase in marginal tax rates on high-income individuals, capital gains, corporations. Literally no tax increases. Nothing. Not like slightly higher than Trump had it, but not back to where it was under Obama. Literally nothing. Despite, you can go to her Twitter feed and all of her tweets about the common sense and need to raise taxes on corporations and all that. This is just paying back her donors, who are rich individuals. They're the heads of companies. They invest in these companies and they don't want them to be taxed. And here, I just want to really put a button in this. I read right before the show, you remember the bathroom protest? They followed her in the bathroom. Arizona State Police have recommended charges against those protesters because what they did is illegal. Taking bribes from wealthy individuals and corporations and then totally shutting down an entire presidency to make sure that they don't pay a single dollar more in taxes. Literal money for money, that's all it is. Not illegal, not unethical by the Senate's rules, totally acceptable. But if you follow her into a bathroom to ask about it, you might end up in prison. Is that amazing, Gary?
That's wild. And if you don't want to talk to the people, you shouldn't put your name on a ballot to represent.
Yeah. Imagine, like, Gary, if you were in office right now, imagine like someone coming up to Gary sitting in his car and they're like, hey, so I'm just wondering which way you're gonna vote in this. And Gary just like takes a look and just drives away. Like, you can't imagine it. You can't imagine a real person doing this, but she's no longer a real person. And the sum total of the effect of their opposition, like, I'm gonna run through a couple of quick graphics that I talked about in the pre-show yesterday. Tuition-free community colleges out of the package now, supposedly. That's what Biden is telling progressives. No tuition-free community college. By the way, this isn't Bernie Sanders' 4-year public college. This is literally just community college. Gone, you don't get it. Child tax credit, maybe a year. They might extend it for 1 year. Incredibly popular. It's helped massively to cut childhood poverty in America. Enjoy that for 1 year, okay? So before the next Guardians of the Galaxy is out, it's gonna be gone for good. So enjoy it while you can get it. Home health care, like literally stopping elderly people from needlessly dying in their homes, that's been massively cut. The Clean Power Act, so much already being cut. Paid family leave, they're gonna cut it apparently from 12 weeks to 4 weeks. Like, it's not 2 senators oppose it, so they shave off a week or two, because there's only a couple of them. No, 2 senators oppose it, so maybe you get 4 weeks. If they're feeling generous, maybe you get 4 weeks. It's so amazing, this whole process. It's kind of what we expected, but it's so brazen.
I think that, we've got to stop on the front side compromising with these folks, right? We know who they are. We've seen them in action for years at this point. And so we're gonna get this every time we vote for moderates. Every time we let a moderate go in and represent the people, this is what we're gonna end up with. And if you don't have, the reason the government is set up the way that it is so that the presidency has this agenda and then the Congress is a checks and a balances to that, right? And so this is a moderate president. There's no, he's like watching mayonnaise. It's nothing impressive about Joe Biden. Like, you don't get excited watching Joe Biden walk out. There's, outside of putting the bomber glasses on, like, that's the thrill of the day with Joe, right? And so knowing this is not like, we're not gonna pretend that this guy is like with me, okay? He's not one of us. He is a moderate. And so for you to go against his plan, it's almost like, you just don't care. You just don't care. And that is the most disrespectful part of all of this for me, right? That you can have somebody that represents us that just displays on a regular basis how little they care about us. And when you're a United States Senator, let's be clear. Though you are elected by the people of Arizona or your home state, there's only 100 of them in the country. And so you represent all of us when you're there. And we want you to consider all of us in these decisions. We know that Republicans are already voting against their interests. We need Democrats that vote in the interests of the people.
Yeah, 100%.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.